Oh, no, seriously, you don't want that.
Let's see. And usually we wait a couple, like a minute or so, and then we'll get started so we do get viewers on.
Okay, I will wait for you to tell me when I do my thing.
Oh my God, we already got a question.
Ruben, can I have you say a test real quick?
She froze again.
Yep. Test real quick.
Ruben, can I have you say a test real quick?
Test real quick. Test real. Seriously, I sound like I've got an echo that's going for 3 miles.
No, someone's watching, not just me. I think I know who. We always check with all of our ends. Just to let you know, we are all of us. We're all from different states. Me and Ryan were in California. He's in Los Angeles. I'm in the IE, and then we have Lewis, who's in New York, as well as Austin, who's in Philadelphia.
My goodness!
Yes. So we are everywhere throughout the U.S., and we're all in different places at the moment.
That's cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and get started. So you guys, this is Rangers Live Chat. You guys know me, of course. Happy Sunday. We have Ryan. Ryan, say hello.
Hello, people.
As well as Lewis. As well as Austin, who's going to do the behind the scenes, as well as having the questions as well. And of course, we do have our special guest. And just like Rangers Live Chat style, we always have technical difficulties, so we do apologize. But we do have our special guest, Vernon Wells. Vernon, can you say hello to everybody?
Hi, everybody. I'm glad that we finally got through all the technical difficulties. Even if you can't see me, at least you can hear me.
Yes.
Most people think that's better anyway.
Well, we do welcome you here to Rangers Live Chat on this beautiful Sunday. As you know, in California today was some wonderful weather that we had, correct?
Oh, it was gorgeous. It was quite funny because I was sitting out on my deck. I live down near the beach, and I was sitting out on my deck looking at all we have these amazing colored little birds that are coming around, and there's some little honey eaters that are buzzing around. And next minute I woke up and it was 2 hours later. I'd gone to sleep. It was so hot.
Oh, wow. I know today was wonderful beach weather, wasn't it?
Yep, it really was.
So can you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
What would you like to know? Just who I am, what I do, and all that stuff?
A little bit about yourself, who you are, where are you from, and why are you here today?
My name's Vernon Wells. I'm from Australia. I was born and raised in Australia, and I'm an actor. I was fortunate enough to be cast in a very big Australian movie, which kind of made me an international actor, which was Road Warrior with Mel Gibson. Then I came to America and did Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Weird Science, Inner Space, many more. And then I was asked I actually did a film with Koichi, who is now, I believe, the executive producer and director and all that of the Power Rangers over in New Zealand. And he was the stunt coordinator on it. And then after I finished that film, I was back in the States, and probably about 2 months later, I got asked to go in and audition for Time Force, playing Ransik. And of course, Koichi was one of the people that was auditioning me, which was very funny. And as they say, I got it. A lot of people didn't. And I had a ball for 12 months running around with some of the nicest people I've ever worked with. And the nice thing about it is that we're all still friends, the whole cast. I mean, everybody in the cast is still friends. We see each other. Erin and I are the closest of friends, and her husband, Paul, we and my wife, we go out and outreach, and we're doing this whole big charity thing. At the end of this year, we're raising money to build a school overseas for the up in the mountains in Nepal. And then I believe in 2018 we're building another one in Mawali in South Africa. And it's all kind of, we've all stayed together and we've all got involved in these things, which I think is really wonderful. And I still act. I still do films. I've got quite a few films coming out, and films that I'm doing at the moment. So everything is still going fine, but one of my best experiences, as I say, was actually, believe it or not, doing the series with everybody. It was a lot of fun because they'd never had a human villain in reality. They were always aliens or something, but my character tended to be a human villain, and they did some wonderful things with them. I mean, we had some wonderful backstories which hadn't happened. They go all the way back into who I was, why I became what I was. We did that wonderful double episode where all of the Power Rangers lived their fantasies of what they would be if they were ever in a movie. And I actually was running around like I was in Wes, chasing them all over the back lot at Universal Studios. So it was a lot of fun, and very enjoyable fun. And that's me.
So we usually do a game with our special guest that comes on. Usually it's a really quick game. And so for you, we have decided that within 30 seconds, I think Ryan will have the timer, 30-second clock. You have 30 seconds to name all of your cast's characters within 30 seconds. So are you ready for that?
What? All the cast characters.
Yes.
Good God, there was the Red Ranger, the Black Ranger, the Pink
Their
Ranger.
names.
The what?
Their names.
The people or the characters?
Character names.
What was
Sorry,
that, Ryan?
The character names.
Character names.
Do they have character names? I just sort of... That's all I ever referred to them as Red Ranger and Pink Ranger and Yellow Ranger. And I never had any names for them.
Well, let's see how many you can. Ryan, you got the timer?
Yeah, start.
Come on, I'm not going to get in. Be fair.
We'll be fair. There's no prize, but it's always fun to see what our guest remembers. Ryan, you ready?
Yep, it's ready, set, go.
Go.
Lord Lee, I can't even remember the little bird. Can't even remember his name. Let me think. Gosh, you know what? I can't remember any of them.
How about your daughter's name?
Daughter's name.
Kate's name.
Oh, great! Now you've got me, haven't you?
Oh my God!
Don't you? Dear Lord, Nadira.
Yeah.
One. All right, your robot.
I got Nadira, huh? That's good.
Eddie's character.
Oh, no, Eddie's character I cannot remember for the life of me. I know it was the Red Ranger's father.
Time's up.
Speaking of Nadira, we actually, I think when we were at Power MorphCon, we saw an interaction with you and her, and it was a kind of amazing moment because it was I think you haven't seen her in a while, so we thought that was pretty nice to see at Power MorphCon.
Oh, with Katie.
Yes.
Yeah, she had never come to any of the shows. She was the only one, and we convinced her to come to that one.
Mm-hmm.
And she's such a sweetheart, and it was the first time I'd seen her for a long, long time. She had her daughter, whom I had never seen.
Oh wow!
I'd seen her husband a couple of times because he's an airline pilot, and he flies through LA. And sometimes when he's got a layover, he'll give us a buzz and we'll go and have dinner with him. So I'd seen him a couple of times.
Oh wow!
But the last time I saw Katie was at her wedding up in Vail, and quite a long time ago. So. Yeah, it was really, really, really nice to see her again.
Well, Ryan has the next question. Ryan,
how did you get started with acting?
How did I start acting? Well, I was actually never really wanted to be an actor. It wasn't something that intrigued me very much. But my mother wrote songs. She was a songwriter, and I guess I had that kind of gene in me, and I started working in bands when I was quite young in Australia, and I thought that's probably where I would stay, was working in bands, being a lead vocalist in groups, some very big ones. And it was kind of my thing. And I was hurt in a car accident, and the manager of the band, while I was recuperating, went around to all the casting agents and finally got a casting agent that said, look, he's perfect for some commercials we're doing. Do you think he'd be interested? So he asked me, and I said, sure. You know, I thought that'll be cool. I'm going to be a model. That'll be wonderful. And I did like 3 commercials, and that was basically it. And then I started doing modeling, didn't like it very much. And then they put me into television series, just as an extra and different things. And that was it. I didn't really care. I actually started directing because that was more what I enjoyed. So I started directing commercials. And then I was seen doing something by George Miller's girlfriend at that time, Sandy Gore. And she suggested that George come and see me for Road Warrior. And the rest is history, as they say.
Austin, you have the next question?
Austin.
Sorry, I'm muted. There we go.
It's okay.
So for our next question, what did you want to be when you grew up? Since you didn't really see yourself as acting right away.
Really, you know what? If I thought about it, I really didn't have a set goal in mind. I grew up in the country with my grandfather and moved to the city with my mother when I was in my early teens. And the bands and all that kind of thing were kind of where I saw myself, and that's what I enjoyed doing. But my father, who was a little authoritarian, decided that I had to go to school and have a career if that's what I wanted to do. And I actually went to school, then to university, and got a degree in electrical engineering, which I've never used, just in case you're wondering. I wouldn't have a clue anymore if I've even got it. But I did that, and then I followed my path, which was working with groups. And then, as I said, through an accident, I actually went into what I was probably meant to do all along, which was acting.
Did you know anything about Power Rangers before auditioning? Were you even a fan?
Nope, had no idea what it was. All I knew was it was a kid show.
Oh, wow. Did you know about it in Australia?
No, I'd never seen it. And I thought it was something like SpongeBob. You know, maybe it was a voiceover or something. Was a little bit confused by the whole thing. And then when I saw, because I had to audition 4 times for it. And in between those auditions, I actually got to see some of it. And then I was like, okay, this is a little weird. But it seemed to be like fun. So I thought, I thought I was going to be dressed up in this costume, you know, like a big rubber suit, one of the monsters. That didn't happen. I became the man with the mask, so to speak. But it was fun. I really enjoyed it. I thought I loved the opening episode where I killed the Red Ranger, which is the first time in America that had ever happened. Anybody had killed a ranger.
Yes.
But apparently in Japan they kill them every other day. They're not as nice as we are.
Yes. And again, viewers, as a reminder, if you have any questions for Vernon Wells, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. We'll go ahead and read them and ask him at the end of the show. Ryan, next question.
So Vernon, I mean, I'm a Time Force fan. I love Ransik as well, and he actually scared me for the first time when I was a kid. And my question is, what do you think of the character of Ransik?
Where did I get the character of Ransik?
Oh,
You know what?
What do you think of the character Ransik?
Oh, what do I think of the character of Ransik?
Yes.
You know what? I thought that he was someone who had an immense affection for his daughter and his family, and that, like all good villains, he thought that what he was doing was right, and he didn't like the Power Rangers because they kept trying to stop him, so he considered them to be the bad guys or the villains in the whole thing. And I think his idea of coming to our timeline was to get away from them so that he could create the utopia that he wanted for his family, and for everything else. But of course, as all villains, I mean, he had an ulterior motive. He was going to rule the world and do all that stuff. But I liked him. I really did. I had a lot of affection for Ransik. I thought he had a lot of fun, and it was a lot of fun playing him because he kind of stepped along that line between being adult and a children's series at times. So that was what I enjoyed about it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Austin has next question. Austin.
My next question for you is, you sort of explained that he's a big family man. So how would you describe the relationship between Ransik and his daughter Nadira?
I think that he would do anything for Nadira. He was a doting father in reality. I mean, if you watch the series, every time something happened, he even put up with the fact that she wanted to date the Blue Ranger, for goodness sake, and accepted it and wouldn't let anybody touch him because his daughter wanted to date him. I think that that was his downfall as well at the end of the series, when it came to that point of where she could have been seriously hurt. He surrendered because he didn't want to see anything happen to her. So I think his affection for his daughter was the one underlying humanity and human thing that drove him. And it was also possibly his undoing.
Was there did you have a favorite moment behind the scenes that you remember while filming the Time Force series?
Did I have a favorite moment?
Yes.
Yeah, that wonderful costume I wore. Every time I went to the toilet, I got trapped in it because I couldn't get out of it after I turned around.
Aww.
That was my favorite moment. Yes, it was just such jolly fun. I think some of my favorite moments, I loved working with Erin, and it was funny because they wrote scenes in with Erin and myself, which made it really like we were good friends as well as enemies. You know, there was this twinkle between us. There was always this little I'm better than you sort of thing, which I thought was really cool because we did get on very well. We were great friends and still are, as I said. And I think they were my favorite moments, were hanging around with everybody in the cast while we were waiting to shoot, and being involved with all the stunt guys and the crew, because they're all, you know, really, really good. They've done it for like 20 years or some damn thing, so they were able to do it with their eyes shut. But it was fun to be around them.
Speaking of behind the scenes, what was your favorite episode?
My favorite episodes, I thought one of my favorite episodes was the episode that they went back and showed how Ransik was badly scarred in the explosion in the laboratory when Frax kind of set him up. And he was walking down the alleyway in the rain, and he got to that pool of water and was standing looking at it, and suddenly saw what he had become, and, you know, dropped to his knees screaming and smashing the water. I thought that was a really powerful episode. Maybe kids might get it, but it was a very powerful episode for what it was on a series like that. And the other ones I loved the double episode, the movie Magic, with all the kids playing their fantasy characters in a movie and me running around trying to catch them. I thought that was a really fun double episode.
And plus your outfit change, or you wore a different piece of the outfit, so.
Yep, I got to look more human. I was wearing a coat.
Here's a question. Would you prefer to be evil or good?
You know what? That's an interesting question because, as I said, anybody that's evil thinks that anybody that's good is evil, and of course it's the other way around. All the good people think that the villain is evil. I think that playing the villain in anything gives you a lot of latitude to explore how the character should react to things. Being the hero, you've got a set parameter of what you can do. You can only do certain things. A villain can do really anything and get away with it. Guys, he's a villain. So I like playing the villain, but I also like playing the good guy, the hero's best friend, whatever you want to call it, because sometimes you can get a really deep part that emotionally gets to you. The psychology of it is that if you're playing the good guy, it's a lot of who you are that's on screen, whereas if you're playing the villain, it's a character you've created. So I think most of us would prefer to be just creating a character than putting a lot of who we are on the screen.
All right. My next question is the Power Ranger fandom. We know Time Force has been on for 15 years. I was like 6 or 5 or 7 years old when you guys first started. And that's its 24th anniversary, 24th season. What do you think of Power Rangers, the fandom so far?
Say that again. I didn't quite hear it.
What do you think of I just said like your season was on this is the 15th anniversary last year, and the Power Rangers franchise has been going on for 24 seasons now. What do you think of the fandom so far, especially your Time Force fandom?
What do we think of the
Power Ranger fandom? Like how much there's a lot of fans out
the,
there.
The fan base for
Yes.
the show.
Yes.
Yeah, I find it amazing, being really serious. I mean, I get people that are in their late 20s who watched it when they were 5, 6 years old. People that are over 30 that watched it when they was 8 or 9, when they were coming home from school or whichever, and they still love it. And they still come up and they want to talk to you, and that they can tell you more about your character than you ever envisaged. I think it's just a phenomenon that people have grown to love it so much. And I mean, every year it's a different set of characters that they can get involved with. So I think that they truly enjoy it, and it's just amazing to see how much they still enjoy it. Come up. It was funny because I sent some photographs across to a serviceman in Kuwait, and I sent a broad spectrum of what I've done, but I put in about 4 photographs from the series. And I was talking to them last night. I did a call over there, and strangely enough, the one that they wanted more photographs of was Time Force. So it's still big.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, your panel was so big. I actually remember going to PMC.
I think your season was a season to remember. I think some of us.
You know what? It was amazing because they started to write. I guess because they had 2 established actors in the series. And they started to write scripts that reflected that. They were more adult in their own way than previous. And as I said, they did things like they went into the background of my character, which they'd never done in the seasons. They never really delved deeply into why the character was the way he was or who he was. And they did those things, which I think made it an exceptionally good season. And I loved it, and I guess a lot of the fan base loved it as well. And you can only be proud of what you do if the fans like it, and I think we could be very proud of that series.
What do you think? We always have a question that respects the character. How do you feel, especially being, I think maybe Ryan could correct me, but being the first villain to actually kill a Power Ranger? How did that feel for you?
Oh, that was so much fun.
Actually, Kristen, you're wrong. It was actually Lost Galaxy.
Okay, but from your perspective, Vernon.
From my perspective, killing I think I was the first one to kill the Red Ranger.
Yeah, you're the first one to kill the Red Ranger.
Sorry?
You were the first one to kill the Red Ranger.
Yeah, because it was this whole big thing because the Red Ranger's the hero of the Rangers. And I got to kill him, and the backlash from that amazing that all the kids were so upset. And then, of course, they brought him back from this time zone, which made everybody happy. But for me to do that, I just thought that was so much fun. I mean, seriously, I'm on the show for like 4 minutes and I'm killing the Red Ranger. I thought, yep, that's the entrance we all want to make. Take the hero out.
Yeah. I was actually traumatized when I first saw it. I was like, no.
I think you traumatize all of us because I think this might make you feel old, but I think I was literally in the sixth grade? No, somewhere in elementary school to middle school, and I think that was the first time we ever saw a character like you, Vernon.
I was in kindergarten. Sorry.
Yeah, Ransik was a different character. He was a lot of fun. He really was. He had all of his different, and I think because the character was so well put together with the writing and everything, that it really, really worked. I loved it. I loved every moment of it. I just thought, from being sort of object, even saying, what, a kid show? Dear God, why am I doing a kid show? To wow, this is so much fun. I think that was what was the big blast of the whole thing, was doing it. And even now, as you know, the people just love that series, and I've still stayed friends with everybody in the cast and some of the stunt guys that I see.
Yes.
And I've run into a couple of the directors occasionally on sets that I've been on working on television. So it's something that never dies. It's still there.
Yes.
15 years later, it's still as strong as it was when we made it.
The next question is, did you enjoy, because I think you have been to different conventions in the past, did you enjoy attending PMC 2016, the last year's Power MorphoCon?
Yeah, I've been at every one of them from when it started. And yeah, I love it because it's that, and for the first time, last year I went to Ranger Stop in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And it's quite interesting to go to a convention that is wholly and solely about the Power Rangers. Nothing else. There's no other films involved, nothing else. And to see how many people are there and how many people come up and talk to you. I'm used to it with my other films because I've done so many films. I'm used to having people come up to me and talk to me about what I've done and this film and that film and all. But when you do it like a Power MorphoCon, they scare me at times. They come up, they know more about me than I do, and I'm sitting there thinking, dear God, do these people stalk me? I mean, they have so much information. It's a little scary, but it's fun. I enjoy going to them because it's good to give back to the audience, because without them, we don't exist. So, it's really nice to be able to go to a convention and talk to people and see people and do photos with them and all that stuff.
I think Austin has the next question.
Or no, Austin will be behind the scenes.
Oh, okay. All right. So the next question is, since the movie's coming out in March, so what do you think of it, what do you think of it so far?
What do I think of the new one?
Power Ranger movie, new one.
Oh, the Power Ranger movie. Seriously, it's either going to be hugely successful or hugely bad. I'm not sure. I've seen all the stuff on it. They've kind of, to me, they've gone away from the mythology of what the series was, and they've kind of made it into this big action spectacular for the masses. I personally, that doesn't appeal to me a lot because I just loved what the mythology of the Power Rangers was. But you know what? It will probably work, and they'll probably get zillions of dollars for it and the whole 9 yards, and it'll be hugely successful. And believe me, I wish them nothing but the best of luck, because if it's very successful, they'll do another one.
Yes.
And maybe they'll use more people from the original series of Power Rangers in that. So, I'm behind it. I think it should be it should be hugely successful, but you never know because that mythology, there's been a lot of stuff on the internet about it's not quite the way Power Rangers was. We'll see.
Yes, we have been hearing all the comments, but what we want is for the continued success of the Power Ranger franchise.
Yes, no, I'm all for it being successful.
All right.
Our next thing is that we usually have these quick questions brought to you by Ryan, Dagger Boy. So, Ryan.
Yeah, these are fun questions. We're breaking off from Power Rangers a bit. I'm gonna ask you your favorite things that you do or stuff. So, it'll be really easy. So, do you have a favorite food you would always eat?
Favorite food that I eat is salads.
Do you have a favorite movie or movie franchise you would watch all the time?
Yeah, at the moment it's Game of Thrones.
Oh, I mean movie.
Oh, movie. Yeah, Road Warrior.
You'll answer my TV show. All right. So, do you have a favorite cartoon you grew up with? Or cartoon character?
SpongeBob.
Always. Any place around, like, what is your favorite place that you would love to visit?
A place that I'd love to visit. You know what? It's really funny because I've visited so many places in my career, but somewhere I'd love to visit, I'm going to at the end of the year to do that school, which is India and Nepal, because my wife is Buddhist and Nepal is like the center of Buddhism, so it'll be really cool to go there and see all that.
I see. Do you have a favorite sweet or favorite like anything that's sweet or guilty pleasure you would eat?
Anything that's a guilty pleasure. Good God, anything that comes from a sweet shop.
All right. Favorite superhero?
Favorite superhero? Ooh, my favorite superhero would probably be Thor.
Sweet. Marvel. Last question. Who is your favorite villain?
My favorite villain would have to be oh gosh. Now, of course, as soon as you said that, I had it in my mind, and now it's decided to go away. Anthony Hopkins played him.
Hannibal?
Hannibal.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that's basically my questions, and now for the viewers' questions.
Go to Lewis. Lewis, you're up.
All right. So we have some questions. We have Paulo saying hi from saying from last Morphicon that he says hi and that he's from Chile, South America.
Oh yes, from Chile. Yeah. You're supposed to be bringing me over to Chile.
He remembers.
No, he remembers you.
And then from Kent Brown, he says, how heavy was the costume and what do you think of the deformed makeup you wore in the final?
The costume was annoying, to say the least. It was very heavy, very cumbersome, and actually doing stunts in it was really not good. And as I said, I used to get stuck in the toilet because the shoulder pad stuck out so far. But when I think you're referring to the makeup when they turned me from the villain to the good guy at the end of the series.
Yeah.
I actually, being blunt, I didn't like that. I thought he should have always stayed the villain. But that's not my decision. But it was good. I mean, I became the good guy. And now whenever they're doing one of those reunion things where they have all the villains and all the good guys, I don't get invited because I'm not considered a villain anymore.
Aww.
I became the good guy.
All right. Somebody wants to know, did you take anything from the set?
Did I take anything from the set? I didn't take anything, but I was given the bone sword as a gift.
Oh yeah, I remember that at PMC. I actually hold it.
Yes,
That's cool.
I had that there, and also my mask they were given to me as a gift when I finished the show.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
That's awesome. Somebody else wants to know: do you rewatch Time Force?
Do I watch it now?
Yeah.
No, not really.
Okay.
Occasionally, I'll watch it when it's on, but normally I'm doing other things, so I don't get to watch it. But I do have the whole series out on
DVD.
DVD. Yeah, God, my brain has fried. Yeah, I have the whole series out on DVD, which occasionally I'll go and have a look at.
And then we have Daniel Ramon. He says, "Hey Vernon, when are you heading to Chicago?"
Oh yes, I want to come back to Chicago. I hope to be coming back this year, Daniel. I love Chicago. I always have a ball when I'm there doing a convention. So I'm going to try to get back there this year.
awesome.
Kent Brown also had a question on who do you think is Nadirin's mom?
Nadira.
Mom.
Nadira's mom.
Nadira's mom. The Pink Ranger. No, just kidding.
It's hilarious.
You know what? That never ever came up, but I can tell you what. Looking at Nadira, she had to be a gorgeous lady. So I would say that probably, I personally, I would think that somewhere in my mythology and background, something happened to my wife, which helped start me on the course that I was on.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think that's it for the questions for now.
Yes, and it's usually a Sunday night. But I have a question, or I have a favor to ask you, Vernon. Can you say something, if you can?
That's right.
Because we did have the
Eddie.
person that Eddie played, who plays Flax, said something, just something from with the terms of Rangers Live Chat. Can we have you say something with Rangers Live Chat in your Ransik voice, even though that is how you usually speak, but something evil or something creative?
All right, I'll try to do something for you. Back again, Red Ranger. Don't you ever learn.
Thank you so much. We do appreciate that. And again, Vernon, we do appreciate you coming here on Rangers Live Chat. Do you have any last comments for your fans, for fans of the series? Is there anything that you would like to say?
Yeah, I'd just like to say that I do appreciate everybody that's liked what I did, likes the series, continues to watch the series. You know, there's that old saying that without you guys, we wouldn't have a career, we wouldn't have anything. So I think that more of what we do is dependent on how you accept us. And you guys seem to have accepted what I did, which I think is wonderful. And I just love the fact that people want to talk to me. It amazes me at times that people want to come up and discuss what I've done. They get so into it. They believe the character is a living entity in their own way, which I think is just wonderful. Because if you can create something that people believe in, that's really cool. And I think that's what we all strive to do. And I also think that the series has a great message for kids. You know, it's not just about thumping the crap out of the bad guys. There's a lot of very, very positive aspects to the whole series of Power Rangers. And I think that is wonderful. And I believe in March I'm doing what I love is I'm heading back to Japan for a big convention in Tokyo.
Wow.
The Japanese have a thing about Wes out of Mad Max and Ransik out of Power Rangers, so it should be fun.
Yeah.
But no, I just thank everybody for the fact that they like what we do and that they supported the Time Force so well, because I had one of the most brilliant casts to work with, and for that I'm extraordinarily thankful. And people like you guys that still want to talk to me after 15 years.
Yes.
Hey, you know, I love it. I think it's just wonderful.
Yes.
Well, we thank you for coming here on Rangers Live Chat and always being part of the Power Rangers franchise some way, somewhat at a convention or continue to talk about it. We do appreciate that.
My pleasure. And if you ever want to talk to me again, ma'am, I'll be right here waiting for you.
Aw,
Yeah.
well, thank you. Again, you guys, this is Rangers Live Chat. You guys, of course, know me, Krishna. And then we have Ryan, who is here with a beanie, even though he just got a haircut.
Yeah.
We also have Lewis, who is here with the whole team, as well as Austin, doing behind the scenes. And then, of course, we do have our special guest, Vernon Wells.
Thank you. And thank you to all of you guys out there doing your job behind the scenes or here in California or wherever you are. Love you and wish you nothing but the best. And thank you so much for taking the time to interview me.
Yeah. And again, you guys, this is Rangers Live Chat from Facebook to YouTube. Have a great Friday night. And even though you guys can't see Vernon Wells, he hears us. So he'll pretend to do his good Y wave like how we always end Rangers Live Chat. So again, you guys, have a happy Sunday and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye, guys.
See ya. Thank you.
Bye.
Guys. Bye, Vernon.
Bye, sweetie. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Pretending to wave on screen, saying goodbye to everybody on Facebook as well as YouTube.
I'm waving. I'm waving.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.